Okay, so in today's video, I am going to be talking to you about an item called GripSpritz. GripSpritz is actually a very interesting item. You can purchase it in my link down below as well in the description. Now, the reason why I'm making this video isn't a sponsored video. They have not sponsored me recently at all. They have given me product in the past to test out and use, but this is not a video that is sponsored. The reason why I'm making this video is because the stuff works really well. And now they're helping my nephew out, giving him some GripSpritz to be able to use in games and practices. And it's a lot different having him use it versus myself. Myself, I'm heavy now, and my knees don't work the same way. They've got arthritis, and my back is messed up, and a lot of parts of my body just don't move the same way as they used to. And I'm only 34 years old. But basically, when he's using it, you can see a big difference. So we play on a lot of different courts, and they range from perfect basketball courts at the university level, and he's a grade 9 in Canada. Birthday wise, he's grade 8 in the United States. And when it comes to the university courts that he's on, pretty much any shoe can grip those. And when you're talking about, like, let's say Pan Am, where I would say it's not a it is a university court, but at the university level, I would say it's probably 90% to the way of a real university court, in my opinion. And then when you're talking about a really high-level high school that he may play in, so there's a few around here, I'm not going to call out their names, but when he plays at the really high-level high school gyms, I would say, like, grip-wise, if you're counting a university level court being 100% grip, and then you go down to Pan Am that would give shoes about 90% grip. A high level high school, you're at maybe 70 to 80% grip. And then you start going down where you're going to facilities that have multiple courts. So other courts, like, I'm not going to name out names because I'm obviously trashing them with how their courts are, but when you go to multi-court facilities, their courts are generally maybe 40-50% grip or less because they get a ton of people in there. They get thousands of people over the weekend. The people who come in, they just walk all over the court with the snow on their shoes and water on their shoes, and that eats away at the finish that's on the court. So you're only getting 40, maybe 50% grip on those courts. Now, when you start using GripSpritz on your shoes, when you're using it at a university court level, it's going to help out. You are going to get more sticky, but you already have 100% grip. So at that point, now you're cutting just a little bit faster and easier, and you can basically break a little bit more ankles a little bit better because the grip on the court is so much better. When you start going down to like a Pan Am facility where it's still a university court, but a lot of people go through it, but they still take care of it like a university court. Now you're at the point of maybe 90% grip. If you would use GripSpritz, which I've got a lot of videos of David at Pan Am, and when he's using GripSpritz, it's literally like grip, done, it's there. And the spray, you basically spray it on your shoes and wipe, that at a facility like Pan Am lasts an entire game. He might sometimes, depending on the weather and how many people have walked along the sidelines and things like that, sometimes he needs to, before the fourth quarter, spray and wipe. But generally speaking, the full game, he's fine. And then, when it comes to like a elite high school gym, generally the same. Lasts a full game, and maybe depending on how many people have walked along the sidelines with salty shoes, he might need to respray and wipe. But generally speaking, the shoes are good the entire game. When he goes to a multi-court facility where there's thousands of people walking across the courts with wet shoes every day, now he's needing to wipe his or reuse the GripSpritz at halftime. And it generally lasts the full game. Now, if it's really bad, so let's say we got a foot of snow outside, the streets are all salted and whatever else, and there's 1,000 people in the gym, now he's needing to do that same spray every quarter, but that's just because the courts are just so dirty. And that's obviously just not the GripSpritz fault. It's just science. But It's just the fact that there's so much salt and everything gets stuck to any shoe, and there it is. So generally speaking, if it's a really bad court, twice every game, you just have to spray and wipe and you're all set, and you can keep it at the bench and whatever else. So that's his experience with the GripSpritz. Now, when it comes down to spending $15 or $20 in Canada on a bottle, you may think, oh, that's expensive, but the bottle lasts almost a whole season. Now, the only problem you're going to find is if you get one bottle, and obviously it's going to work because it's worked for David. He's a very high level. You're seeing his highlights behind me. But when he's using it, his whole team is like, yo, can I have some? Yo, give me some. And I'm going to tell you right now, if your whole team doesn't get it, you're probably going to have to go through maybe one, two, maybe 3 bottles, because if you're the only person who has it and everyone on the team, that's 12 kids times 4 games on a weekend or 6 games on a weekend, depending on how many teams you're playing on. But that's just life. But generally speaking, if it's just you using a bottle, one bottle should last you roughly an entire season, depending on how many practices you have too. So with David, he practices twice a day. He's at a prep school, and they have games. So he has like 8 games a month, 10 games a month, sometimes 4, depending on the month. And then he has 20, essentially 4 weeks, right? So 20 practices a week plus the weekends, where if he doesn't have games on the weekend, he's usually training one of the days on the weekend. So now you're looking at 20 days. That's 40 practices. Another potentially 3 practices added on plus games. Now he's going through a lot of GripSpritz, but that's just the fact that it works so well, and he's practicing and playing just so much. Now, if you want to try and get more grip on the court, this is probably the best way, because a lot of issues with that, like when I was a kid, we used to try to use anything, like our sweat, wipe, and it wouldn't last very long. And then when there was a phase that we all went through where we would lick our hands, and disgusting. And then there's some people who used hand sanitizer, and it was hilarious because I never did that. A friend of mine did, and a lot of people on the team did, and they found out that like less than 2 or 3 days later, there was 0 grip on the shoes, and there was nothing they could do about it because the shoe soles went extremely hard, and that was because of the alcohol. Alcohol affects rubber, and rubber goes hard or brittle after you use alcohol on it, so don't use alcohol on your shoes. And that's why stuff like GripSpritz really works extremely well, because it's it's cleaning and making your shoes stickier. So it's a very good thing to be able to use on your shoes. It's good upkeep as well. Anyways, I hope that this video has helped you. Make sure to go check out the link down below to be able to purchase GripSpritz, and I'll see you guys again in my next video.